we're going to suspend our normal format right now because we've got some breaking news. A few minutes ago, it was about 8 o'clock because we had just started at the top of this hour, the Space Shuttle Columbia was going over North Texas. You're looking at a live picture now of Mission Control. And this was the shuttle going over North Texas. At the time, it looked like a normal re-entry because the shuttle would normally light up in re-entry because of the heat of the friction of the Earth's atmosphere. But then we began to see this.
You'll notice here, it looks like you can see pieces of the shuttle coming off.
Pieces of the shuttle coming off, and NASA, we can confirm that the shuttle is behind schedule. It was to land in Florida. There you see what appears to be multiple pieces of the shuttle.
We cannot confirm whether this is an indication that the shuttle broke up upon re-entry or not.
Well, we can confirm right now that NASA has told us shuttle was at an altitude of 200,000 feet, traveling at 12,000 miles an hour. When Mission Control confirms it lost contact, there's been no further communication with the shuttle Columbia since then. And there you can see numerous streams of what appear to be some kind of objects leaving some kind of trail over the skies of North Texas. This video was shot by Channel 8 photographer John Pronk, who was at Dallas's Fair Park as the shuttle went over, which happens frequently when it's going to have a good weathered landing in Florida. It comes right over North Texas. We've done this before, sometimes at night, and it's spectacular. This time, though, as you can see, as we're replaying once again, this is videotape of the Space Shuttle Columbia on its way to a scheduled landing at 8:16 this morning, and apparently putting off quite a bit of heat. And we're not going to try and draw too many assumptions here. We're going to try and give you information as we can confirm it. Reuters now reporting that the space agency NASA confirming it lost contact with the shuttle minutes before a scheduled landing. The shuttle's landing now confirmed overdue. They say they lost track with it about 8 o'clock North Texas time, and it was due to land after a 2-week mission. Has 7 astronauts aboard, and also the first Israeli astronaut was aboard this flight. They did not go to the International Space Station this time. It was just 2 weeks of experiments of some kind, and this was to be the end of it, and they've lost contact. We can only hope that what we're seeing is not the worst, but we don't have any confirmation. We can confirm to you that NASA says the shuttle is overdue in its landing.
7-member crew, one of them, as Brad had mentioned, Ilan Ramon, who was the first Israeli astronaut. Security was going to be exceptionally tight in Florida during this landing. For that reason, post-September 11th, they felt that Ilan's presence on the shuttle made it a greater security risk as an Israeli, and they were expecting much tighter security at the landing zone. This is a live shot now. We're going to listen into NASA right now to see if we can find out more.
Flight Director Leroy Kane has declared a contingency. Flight controllers are securing all information and data and notes. No tracking reported again of Columbia since about 8 a.m. Central Time as it was descending toward Florida, toward the Kennedy Space Center, above Central Texas.
And what you're seeing is what's called NASA Select. It's a continuous satellite feed from NASA. This is Mission Control, and they're trying to assess what happened and confirm what's happened. If we can go ahead and show our video once again, we'll show you what our live Channel 8 camera at the time saw looking up over North Texas. This is a shot from Channel 8's John Pronk's camera at Fair Park as the shuttle streaked across North Texas. Now watch closely.
Right
it appears that you're going to see numerous trails of smoke or vapor. Looks like some kind of explosion might have happened there. And then you see a bright glow. That happens on re-entry because there's going to be friction from the Earth's atmosphere, but now we see multiple objects, numerous trails. And at this point, NASA is confirming that it lost contact with the shuttle scheduled to land at 8:16 Texas time. It's now 8:27, well behind schedule.
Very quickly here, as Brad has been speaking to you, I've been watching what's coming over the wires. Reporters at the landing strip in Florida were ordered away by NASA 7 minutes after the scheduled touchdown, with still no sign of the shuttle. In 42 years of human space flight, NASA has never lost a space crew during a landing or a ride back into orbit. As you remember, of course, in 1986, the Space Shuttle Challenger exploded shortly after takeoff, and these pictures, as we had mentioned, taken just a little over a half an hour ago by our own John Pronk, eerily reminiscent of what we saw back in 1986 when the Challenger exploded. We're just getting a mic on John Pronk right now. He's going to join us on the set to tell us a little bit about what he saw. We've slow-moed this for you now. Slow motion video of the moment where it appears the shuttle broke up during re-entry, and we can tell you that it is several minutes late. NASA lost communication with the space shuttle several minutes ago, and John Pronk joins us now on the set to tell us a little bit more about what he saw. John, thanks for joining us.
John, you were in a parking lot there at Fair Park,
yes,
and looking up, and it looks like when we first saw the arc, it appeared like it was a normal re-entry.
Yes,
and
it did.
As you were looking through your viewfinder, what was that you were seeing that we might not be able to detect in the video?
Well, I had seen the shuttle once before in West Texas, and it came over. It was almost like a jet aircraft, you know, and it made a noise when it went over. When I heard it in West Texas, I didn't hear anything today, but that could have just been my angle or something. But I saw it come over downtown, and it appeared to be a normal entry, and then things started flying off, and I wasn't sure what I was seeing, whether like
this is it again, right? This is what these are the pictures you shot for us about half an hour ago.
And we now have confirmation through the Associated Press. NASA has declared an emergency this morning after losing communication with the Space Shuttle Columbia as the ship soared over North Texas today. They have declared an emergency. No indication, though, from NASA what has happened. All we can tell you is there's an emergency, that the shuttle was scheduled to land at 8:16. It is behind schedule, and there we'll just let everyone draw their own conclusion at this point, lacking official information of what happened. John Pronk here on the set with us. John, you said you've seen this before in West Texas, and we've had other video before. Normally it looks like just a commercial aircraft as we will see at 30 or 35,000 feet with just a normal trail of vapor,
right?
Of water vapor, and as it goes over, and it's usually quite an impressive, beautiful sight. This was markedly different?
Yes, it was. I spoke with Tim Hamilton, our other photographer who was shooting this, and he has seen several shuttle coming in entry, and he said it wasn't normal to what his experience was either.
It was not normal to
no, for him, and he's bringing his tape in now.
Well, that pretty clearly shows what I think everybody is just dreading, and that is the moment of breakup, if that in fact happened. Again, if you're just joining us this morning, NASA lost communication with the Space Shuttle Columbia during its re-entry. This was right over Texas. It was about 16 minutes from landing in Florida when we shot that video and showed it live on our station. And they lost communication, and they have since declared an emergency. Reporters who were on the scene there waiting for the landing in Florida were ordered away 7 minutes after the scheduled landing time, which was 9:16 Eastern time. That would have been 8:16 local time. And we are just trying to figure out if we can get an answer exactly what happened to the shuttle. And we're going to listen in a little bit to the NASA commentary now.
I think right now this is NASA Mission Control in Houston. I think we're going to try and switch to CNN as it's beginning to pick up live coverage. Let's see what CNN's reporting at the moment. We hope to pick that up in a moment. This is a live feed from Mission Control in Houston from the NASA Select satellite channel. It, at this time, is declaring a couple of things. An emergency, if you're just joining us, now 8:32 here in Dallas-Fort Worth. 8:32, NASA declaring an emergency as the Space Shuttle Columbia was on its way to make a scheduled landing in Florida today. It lost communication over Texas. This is slow-motion video shot by News 8 photographer, reporter John Pronk. And as you see there, it looks like a number of objects going through the atmosphere, not the single contrail of vapor left behind by the shuttle during a normal reentry as it arcs over Texas on its way to Florida. And even at the time when that was happening, some of us here were saying that that doesn't quite look right, but we had no way of knowing live at the time at 8 o'clock that there was any particular problem. I mean, there could have been other reasons, I suppose, maybe ice coming off of the shuttle as it comes in, reflections from a attempted landing near sunrise, but we now have confirmation something has gone wrong. NASA declaring an emergency and no confirmation yet of what has happened, but no doubt they're scrambling. They say they're trying to retrieve data that was being fed by the shuttle as it went over Texas to try and see why it lost communication and what has happened. 7 astronauts on board the Columbia. And now confirmation that NASA is mobilizing search and rescue teams in North Texas.
This is Mission Control.
I want to jump in for a second here, and maybe we can...
Let's take Mission Control.
Data from today's space shuttle descent of the shuttle Columbia. Columbia's last communication was received at about 8 a.m. Central Time as Columbia flew 200,000 feet above north central Texas. Search and rescue teams in the Dallas-Fort Worth area have been alerted. No communications or tracking of any type was received after 8 a.m. Central Time along Columbia's planned route toward the Kennedy Space Center, toward a landing there this morning that had been planned to take place at 8:16 a.m. Central Time.
What you're looking at now is slow-mo video, and it also looks like our editing staff here at Channel 8 has also been able to zoom in somewhat on that video. That's why it gives more of a grainy texture on your screen. But you can see there that there are several objects that are flying through the atmosphere, and it looks like there's almost a breakup there, and you can see several bright pieces purportedly of the shuttle as it goes over North Texas. And this is somewhat of a closer view, zoomed in, slowed down. There's the 1, 2, 3, and of course the trails of vapor or smoke coming from behind them. NASA not saying yet what has happened, only that lost communication at 200,000 feet while Columbia was streaking over the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Search and rescue teams have now been mobilized, and
needless to say, if the shuttle did break up, there will be pieces of debris likely falling in the Texas area, and that is why the search and rescue has been mobilized in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I want to flash back a little bit to launch day, and this may or may not give us an indication of what might have caused this as we start thinking about what happened. On launch day, a piece of insulating foam, according to our wire service here, a piece of insulating foam on the external fuel tank came off during liftoff and was believed to have struck the left wing of the shuttle. This was, again, during liftoff. NASA said as late as Friday that the damage to the thermal tiles, the protectant tiles that protect the shuttle from the incredible heat upon reentry, the damage to those thermal tiles was believed to be minor at that time and posed no safety concern during the fiery descent through the atmosphere. We're going to give you another look at what we shot. Again, this was at 8 o'clock, shot by John Pronk, and normally you would see a single vapor trail, and very clearly in this video of the shuttle re-entry, you see what appears to be maybe an explosion or something, and then very shortly here you'll see multiple contrails, multiple vapor trails coming in, which is not normal.
The greater fear on this particular landing was a terrorist attack, and that's why security was strengthened in Florida, where the shuttle was to land. But now it appears there has been some other kind of emergency over North Texas. There's been, I want to add, there's been nothing mentioned so far about any kind of terrorist act involved in this emergency with the shuttle Columbia, only that NASA was concerned at the other end, at the very end, where the shuttle was supposed to land this morning at Cape Canaveral in Florida, of any possible terrorist activity, and therefore security was very tight there. That is not the concern here at the moment. The concern is what happened to the Space Shuttle Columbia at 8 o'clock over the Dallas-Fort Worth area today. John Pronk of Channel 8 News shot this video, who is here, and
very, very quickly, we are just hearing that NASA has put out an advisory to anybody who sees a piece of debris that may have come from the shuttle not to approach it. Do not pick it up, do not touch it. If there is debris that happens to fall in North Texas, do not approach it. I would assume that it would be prudent to let any emergency personnel in your area know about what you have found.